It's my great pleasure and honor to introduce His Excellency Liu He, Vice Premier of the State Council of the People's Republic of China. In the past 3 years, the world has been undergoing tremendous changes with many challenges: the pandemic, the war in Europe, the slowing economy, the energy crisis, food crisis, supply chain instability, climate change, and I could go on. The world is becoming even more fragmented, and we must seek cooperation in this fragmented world. Since China's up and reform process over 40 years ago, the country has made great contributions to the development of the global economy. Yet, the world is in transformation, and we are all focused to rethink our development models. The global community, Your Excellency, is eager to understand the next chapter of China's development strategy, both domestically and globally, particularly after the Communist Party's 20th Congress. And we would like to know the opportunities in China and how we can work together with China to tackle the collective challenges that the world is facing. Cooperation instead of fragmentation. As Director of the Office of the Central Commission for Finance and Economy, Director of the Financial Stability and Development Committee of the State Council, Head of the leading group for National Science and Technology System Reform and Innovation Systems Development, Vice Premier Liu has played a key role and key roles in China's economy, financial and technology sector, as well as China's international cooperation for over 30 years now. He is a recognized leader and a well-known person internationally. Today, we all need to work together to make progress in this fragmented world. We firmly believe that China will play and can play an important role, so we are all keen to hear your perspectives. Mr. Vice Premier of China, how much will China assume a responsive and responsible role to avoid further fragmentation in the world? Please welcome Vice Premier Liu He.
Dr. Klaus Schwab, ladies and gentlemen, friends, good morning. Let me begin by thanking Dr. Schwab for inviting me to Davos again. The last time I came here was 2018. Over the past 5 years, we have experienced all kinds of unexpected events and witnessed profound changes in the world's political and economic landscape.
在这样的背景下，今年的年会以
Therefore,
分裂的世
the
界
theme of this year's annual meeting, Cooperation in a Fragmented World,
意义重大。
cannot be more relevant.
相互了解是加强合作的基础。
Mutual understanding is an important
最近以
prerequisite
来
for
我们一直
cooperation.
在进行线上的交流。
We've been conducting online communications
技术手段
recently,
再先进，也
but we
替代不了
realized
人
that
和
no
人
matter
之间
how technologically
面对面
advanced
的交流
it is,
最近
is no
2年以
substitute
来
for in-person
机会
meetings.
见到很多的老朋友，感到
I had quite a number of very warm meetings with some old friends these 2
请
days.
允许我向大家简要的介绍一下中国
At
的
this face-to-face
经济的情
event,
况
I hope I can help you understand the Chinese economy
2022
better.
年中国顺利完成了国内
In
的
2022,
政治议题
China completed its major political
成功召
agenda.
开中共20大
We held the
选举
20th
了
National
以习近
Congress
平
of the
为
Communist
主席
Party
的
of China
新的中央
and
领导
elected
集体
the new central leadership with President Xi
计
Jinping
划了
at its
未来
core.
5年乃至更长
We
时
drew
期
up an ambitious blueprint for advancing Chinese modernization in the coming 5 years
我们
and
不久
beyond.
前召开了中国的年度中央
Last
经济工
month,
作会
we
议
held the annual Central Economic
按
Work
照
Conference
中共20大的精神，
to make
对
plans
今年的经济工作
for this
进
year
行了全
in
面
line
的
with the
部署
development of the 20th CPC National Congress.
从去年的情况看，中国经济增长
Last year,
3%，
China's growth was
保持了就
3%,
业、物价基本
and
的
we managed to keep jobs and
城
prices
乡调
stable.
查失业率5.6%，
Urban surveyed unemployment rate was 5.6%, CPI was
经
2%,
常项目顺差占
and the current
GDP
account surplus
略微超过
was
2%。
slightly above 2% of GDP.
2023年，我们将坚持稳
In
中求进
2023,
工作总
we will
绩效
continue to work to make
继
progress
续实施
while maintaining
积极的
stability
财政政策
and follow a proactive fiscal policy and a prudent monetary
合理
policy.
的经济增
We
长
will strive to maintain reasonable economic growth
和就业
and keep
总体稳定。
prices and jobs stable.
我们有一个工作的重点，就是要
Our
着
focus
力扩大
will be
国内需
placed
求，
on expanding domestic demand,
推动产业链、供应链
keeping
循
industrial
环畅通。
and supply chains
我们
smooth,
将支持民营经济健康发展，
supporting the healthy development
深化
of
国有
private
企业
sector,
改革。
deepening
我们欢迎
state-owned
中国的外
enterprises
资
reform,
来华投资，
attracting foreign investment,
防范化解
and preventing
经济金融风险。
and diffusing economic and financial
我们
risks.
相信，经过努力，
If we work hard enough,
2023年
we are confident
中国经济
that
会实现
in 2023,
好转，
China's growth will most likely return to its
经济
normal
增长
trend,
速度达到正
and the
常
Chinese economy will see a significant
大概率
improvement.
的事件。我们也预计今年中国的进口会明显的增加，
A noticeable increase of
会
import,
大幅度的增加，
more
居民
investment
消费
by companies,
回归常态。
and residential consumption returning back to normal can be
我们也回
expected.
顾了过去10年，中国的 GDP
Over the past 10
4
years,
万亿元
China's GDP grew from
1万亿，
54 trillion to 121 trillion yuan.
从74.8岁
Average life expectancy rose from 74.8 to 78.2 years
经济增长
last
的
year,
贡献，去年达到
and contribution to the global growth last year reached around 36%.
取得这样的成绩，我们认为
There are at least 5 things that we always bear in mind in making such achievements. First, we must always take economic development as the primary and central task. Under the new circumstances, guided by the philosophy of innovative, coordinated, green, open, and shared development, high-quality economic development must always be our goal. Second, we must always make establishing a socialist market economy the direction of our reform. We must let the market play a fundamental role in resource allocation and let the government play a better role. Some people say that China will go for the planned economy. That is by no means possible. We will stay committed to deepening SOE reform, support the private sector and their growth, promote fair competition, oppose monopoly, and champion entrepreneurship. Third, we must always promote all-round opening up. Opening up as a basic state policy is a catalyst of reform and development in China and a key driver of economic progress. China's door to the outside world will only open wider. Fourth, we must always uphold the rule of law. We must protect property rights and IPRs in accordance with the law. We must create a world-class and market-oriented business environment underpinned by a sound legal framework. Both government and market activities must stay within the confines of law. Fifth, we must pursue innovation-driven development. We should promote innovation in education, grow human capital, foster a sound interaction of finance, technology, and industry, and work to boost productivity. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, the above 5 points are the important experience we have learned and gained since China started its reform and opening up. We must stick to them and never waver in our commitment. Let me also briefly touch upon 3 issues about the Chinese economy. First, where we are in resolving financial risks, those in the real estate sector in particular. Second, our thinking on the dual circulation. Third, the rationale behind China's goal of common prosperity. The financial risks that emerged in China over the past 5 years are a result of multiple factors, including macroeconomic downturn, loose financial supervision, imprudent business expansion, and insider control. We fought a tough battle to address these risks. We dealt with conglomerates, as well as small and medium-sized financial institutions of high risks, disposed of distressed assets, curbed shadow banking activities, and handled unusual volatility in the capital market. Thanks to these efforts, we have managed to maintain overall financial stability and prevented systemic risks. We are drafting the financial stability law right now, which is expected to provide legal safeguards for diffusing risks and maintaining financial stability as we go forward.
中国是重要的支柱产业。
The real estate sector is still a pillar for China's economy.
发生了一些变化，
But there have been changes since 2021.
占银行贷款的40%。
The real estate sector accounts for nearly 40% of bank lending,
约50%。
around 50% of overall local government fiscal resources,
资产的60%。
and 60% of urban household assets.
包括
Therefore, we pay much attention
急剧
to the changes that have taken place, including a rapid decline in property prices and home sales. Many property developers suffered from liquidity shortage and deteriorating balance
重
sheet.
大的风险。
The risks of a handful of leading property developers are particularly noticeable.
很容易引发系统性。
If not handled properly,
所以
risks in the housing sector are likely to trigger systemic risks. That is why prompt steps must be taken to address them.
防范系统风险和道德风险
That
的
said,
关系。
while doing so, we should also prevent possible moral
具体
hazards.
做法是：第一，
Here is what we have
保
done.
护契约
First,
和产权稳定。
we have stabilized expectations by honoring contracts and protecting property
全
rights.
国188万居民的2600
For
个
the 2,600 plus pre-sold but unfinished housing projects that concern 1.88 million people across the country, we have made ensuring their delivery a
市
priority.
场的恐慌，
And this helped prevent panic in the market.
做了大量的输血。
Second, we have conducted massive blood transfusion to the real estate
主
sector.
要包括提供
The
商业
liquidity
银行
situation of real estate companies has been greatly enhanced
发债
by way of fresh bank lending, bond issuance guarantee,
融资等等。
and equity financing.
第三，放松在房地产市场过热期间采取
Third,
的一些管制。
We have relaxed restrictions that were once introduced to addressing the overheating in the property
房地
market
产公司
to effectively expand demand and enable property developers to generate revenue.
中国的市场在房地产方面
Thanks to these efforts,
明显的变化。
the property market in China
从未
has
来
seen
看，
noticeable
中国
improvement.
仍处于城市化较快的
Looking
发展
ahead,
阶段
China's urbanization is still on a fast
相对
track,
房地产行业
and the enormous
健康发展
potential demand generated in this process will provide a strong underpinning for the development of the real estate sector.
以国内大循环为主体，
Right now,
国内
China is stepping up efforts
互相
to foster a new development paradigm with domestic circulation as the mainstay and domestic and international circulations reinforcing each other. The focus of domestic circulation is on expanding internal demand,
以消费，
promoting industrial upgrade, developing a consumption-led growth model,
从而推动经济实现再平衡。
and rebalancing the
国
economy.
际呢，就是从2008年国际金融发生危机以后，
This
整个国际社会
is a logic
形成了共识
reflecting international consensus since the financial crisis
加快，
in 2008.
美国也要再平衡，整个世界
China needs to rebalance, so does the United States. The world economy
适当的
needs
国内
a
循环
rebalancing.
特别需要加强
However,
分工和
For
合作
domestic circulation to function well, it must rely on international division of labor and cooperation, as well as more foreign trade and investment.
是开放的，
Therefore,
国际
the new development paradigm
中国的
of
基本
dual
国策
circulation
决定了必须
is to be pursued in open
不
economy.
断地提高
China's national reality dictates that opening up to the world is a must, not an expediency. We must open up wider and make it work better. We oppose unilateralism and
全面地
protectionism
加强国际合作，
and look forward to strengthening
共同维护
comprehensive international cooperation with all countries
推动经济
for world
实现
economic stability and development and the promotion of economic re-globalization. Now that China has completed the mission of building a moderately prosperous society in all respects, we have come up with a new social development goal of achieving common prosperity. A historic mission that will help us ensure lasting stability. It is a long-term task that requires an incremental and gradual approach. It is not something to be achieved overnight. Common prosperity, as we see it, is aimed at preventing polarization. It can only be attained through common development and the hard work of every Chinese. Common prosperity is by no means a synonym of egalitarianism or welfarism. As China grows, all Chinese people will be better off. But that doesn't mean their incomes and level of prosperity have to be the same. That is to say, there will be equal opportunities, but no guarantee of equal outcomes. Entrepreneurship is a key factor for wealth creation of a society. Therefore, entrepreneurs, both Chinese and foreign, will play an important role as the engine driving China's historical pursuit of common prosperity. If wealth doesn't grow, common prosperity will become a river without source or a tree without roots. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, the theme of this meeting, cooperation in a fragmented world, is highly relevant. As President Xi Jinping noted, changes of our world, of our times, and of history are unfolding in front of us in an unprecedented way. The world has once again come at a historical crossroad, and its future depends on the choices we make. As for how to advance international cooperation, I'd like to share with you the following 3 observations. First, we need to uphold the right principles and maintain the effective international economic order. Under the new circumstances, the traditional way of thinking cannot provide a solution. Hence, we have to abandon the Cold War mentality, try to understand the essence of things from the perspective of material duality, endeavor to build a community with a shared future for mankind, and join hands to respond to global challenges. We believe that an equitable international economic order must be preserved by all of us. International division of labor, encouragement of competition, anti-monopoly, protection of property rights and IPRs, promoting entrepreneurship and free flow of production factors, fair distribution, ensuring macroeconomic stability and a strong social safety net are still economic principles that are relevant today. The government has a key role to play on major issues. Despite temporary resistance and some setbacks, we must have the courage to uphold truth and law of economics and address complex issues in a pragmatic way with plain and simple solutions. Second, we need to strengthen international macro policy coordination and strike a good balance between inflation and growth. To tame inflation, some countries have chosen the policy that will likely result in the hike recession recovery loop. But it is important to note that inflation this time around is driven by multiple factors, which is why it is complicated. Apart from the demand side, supply-side measures are also needed to repair the supply chains and preserve energy and food security. A joint response to this challenge requires international cooperation and maintenance of peace. We call for more attention to the negative spillover effect of major countries' rate hikes on the emerging markets and developing countries, so as not to add to more debt or financial risks. We also stand ready to work with all parties to find solutions to the debt issues of some developing countries. Third, we need a global response to climate change. Most countries in the world are keenly aware of the urgency of climate governance and the need for common actions. The COVID-19 pandemic has revealed to us a possible connection between climate change and public health crisis. This is an area where effective international cooperation is needed. China will honor its commitments to the international community, push for global cooperation on climate change, work with other countries to tackle the serious challenges posed by it, how to strengthen cooperation in a fragmented world is a real problem we all face. We must face it squarely, dig deep into the causes of fragmentation, promote positive-sum games, identify the possible converging areas of cooperation, and explore the mechanisms for doing so. We must also work together to firmly safeguard world peace. We should be grateful that this year's Davos Forum presents us with an opportunity to do just that. I wish the forum a full success and hopefully help us strengthen cooperation and preserve peace in a fragmented world. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Premier. We have time also for 2 questions. And I would like to follow up what you mentioned at the end and come back to China's carbon neutrality goal. China has announced its goal to be carbon neutral by 2060 and to make in such a way a strong contribution to the achievement of the Paris objectives. But what are the practical decisive steps that must be taken? And you mentioned already, what role does global collaboration play? Could you elaborate a little bit further, please?
Okay. 非常感谢schwab主席提出的问题。
Thank you, Dr. Schwab, for your question.
Your questions. So may I answer in Chinese instead of English? 关于3060这个目标，是中国政府
Carbon peak before 2030 and carbon neutrality before 2060 are solemn commitments the Chinese government made to the world, and we will strive to achieve them.
目前的情况来看呢，主要做法包括几个方面。
To achieve that, we are making efforts in a number of aspects.
能源结构，
First,
我们将
we are adjusting energy structure.
可再生的新能源，提高它的比重。
We will increase the share of renewable and new energy.
力改造 传统能源，提高传统能源的效率。
and enhance the efficiency of traditional energy,
捕捉技术、
including
储能技术
carbon capture,
关键。
storage. These are important.
从中国的国情出发，
In the meantime,
我们也要发展清洁的、安全的。
China's national reality dictates that we also need to promote safe and clean use of nuclear power.
我们将抓住重点，
Second,
努力呢，这个减少排放。
we will focus on key areas of carbon reduction.
有些行业呢，如果能抓住，我们将降低排放的80%。
If we can focus on these key areas, we're able to cut 80% of emissions, including power generation,
这个
construction materials, steel.
行为，还有呢，
We're also promoting
制造业进行绿色的改造。
the change of consumption behavior and make changes to the traditional manufacturing
制度
sector.
性的安排非常重要。
Third, we think institutional arrangements
已经制定了
are crucial.
N 的政策体系。
We have made a 1+N
那么现在呢，
policy
在
framework.
推动碳交易市场的建
We
设，
are promoting the
推
building
动绿
of
色金融。
carbon trade and green finance.
这个与此同时呢，在政府的公共投资，在
On
税收制度的安排，
Fiscal on public investment,
我们都会
taxation, we will also make efforts
第四点呢，
in these aspects.
我们必须全力的开展国际合作。
Fourth, we
这
must
方面呢，我们和美
strengthen
国
international cooperation.
有直接的国际合作。
We are working with the
在
United
UN 的
States,
框架下，
including under
框架下，
the United Nations,
G20框架下，
APEC,
我们建立了一系
and
列
G20 frameworks. We have established a series of mechanisms.
已经开展诸多的国际合作，
We have already been working with the European Union
城市和工业园区进行试
in areas such as cities
进行合作。
and industrial parks.
继续推动。我们
We are working with the European Union on technology,
发展中国家，
and we are
就
collaborating
是说
with emerging markets and developing countries. For instance,
所有
in
的境外的，
Belt and Road Cooperation, we have announced the end
我们也愿意
of
对
building new coal-fired
提
plants
供呢融资的帮助。
in international cooperation, and we will also provide financing to countries in
报
need.
告一点，就是关于中国式的现代化问题，
I would also like to talk about
因为这个
Chinese
碳
modernization.
中和是我们的国际义务，同时
Carbon
也
neutrality
是中国的一个
is China's
发展
international
内
obligation.
生性的要求。也就是说呢，不
This
是
is also what China needs in driving its internal growth. It is not imposed on us,
中国人多
rather,
地
it
少
is something that we want to
这个
do.
初级产品供应需要国际交换，
The supply of primary products requires international exchanges.
而且
In China, we have a massive manufacturing
推
industry,
动的过程中，
and in advancing industrialization and
我们
urbanization,
必须全面的
China
改变
must
方式，
make changes
全面的推进
to our development model
这个发展
and promote
模式。我也注意到
green development.
这个孙先生也在，我也非常欣赏前一段他和朱明先生和
I've noticed
先生一
that
块儿提的这种绿色的范式
The idea of paradigm change
总而言之呢
in green development that was raised not long ago.
推动碳排放、碳中和，
The reduction of carbon emissions and carbon neutrality
我们也提
are
倡
crucial to China's
对林
survival.
湖草沙一体化治理。
We're also taking a holistic approach to conserving mountain, water, forest, farmland, and grassland
中
ecosystems.
国的居民，中国
We
的
know that lucid waters and lush mountains are invaluable assets,
我想呢，我先简要的回
and
答
we
这个问题
also need to promote green development among the public. Thank you.
Vice Premier, in this context, we appreciate very much China's commitment to plant, in the framework also of our 1 trillion trees project, to plant, I think, 65 billion trees in the coming years.
Yes, exactly.
Now, I have a question which certainly everybody is keenly interested, Vice Premier, because there have been so many different reports about the COVID situation in China, creating concerns about the health situation, of course, the impact on economic growth potential, and of course the resilience and reliance on supply chains. Could you enlighten us what the situation is and what can we expect of the final, if I may say so, normalization of the situation?
Thank you so much for your question. If I may, I still want to answer it in Chinese. As you mentioned, okay, 就是像您所说的，我们
As you mentioned,
这个全面的动态清零的防疫政策，转向了治疗重症的防疫政策。
we are shifting our focus from dynamic zero COVID to the prevention of severe cases. It started on 8th December last year, and since 8th January this year, we have started to manage COVID as a Class B infectious disease. That is a signal of reopening. First, the COVID situation is steadying. China has passed the infection peak. Members of the society have returned to normal. There's a short span of time between infection peak and the returning to normal, which somehow is beyond our expectations. Second, living and production have been fully restored. Catering, tourism, and other consumption have been restored to normal. I have received quite a surprising number from the Transportation Department. This year's Chinese Spring Festival will see some 5 billion trips made, which is an enormous scale. That is why I said just now that life has been restored to normal in China. Third, the priority is still on the elderly, those with underlying conditions, including diabetes, high blood pressure, etc. Now we are working to address these priorities. As things stand, hospitals, hospital beds, doctors, nurses, medicine, supply of these factors can be ensured. Finally, for all of you, my foreign friends, you are most welcome to visit China. The policy we are taking right now is travelers only need 48-hour PCR test results upon entry. And there is no quarantine, no other additional requests. All of you, friends from the international community, are most welcome to visit China. We will provide you with the best services. On certain issues, we need some time for transition, but overall, there is no problem. I met a number of old friends yesterday. They told me that they want to visit China for the Boao Forum for Asia, for the high-level forum for development. That is also proof that things have been normalized. Thank you for your question, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Premier. We highly appreciate that you came here to Davos actually just before the Spring Festival starts.
Yes, exactly.
You came here with important delegation. Thank you for sharing with us the latest policies of the Chinese government of China. And I think on behalf of all of us, I want to wish you a good year of the rabbit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.